Well, hello again. Here we've got an interesting treat for you tonight. We've got Hooker's House. Hooker's House is one of my favorites for a couple of reasons. Not only does it have a nice, interesting story, but it is one of those whiskeys that is finished in a little bit of a different cask. So we've talked a little bit before about the different barrels, and a whiskey can be called a bourbon, according to the FDA in 1964, if it's made in Kentucky and it's made in a brand new oak barrel every time. Well, this whiskey originated in Kentucky, so we can call it a bourbon. However, it finishes for 9 months in a Pinot Noir barrel. So there's a lot of good things going on within the whiskey world right now. What the FDA did not state in 1964, where a lot of fermenters are starting to really work on, is they didn't mention the origin of that oak. So you're finding now a lot of distilleries are working with different woods, Mongolian oak and being one of them. So I'm really looking to try and get my hands on something from a Mongolian oak barrel. But this particular one also has a really nice kind of fun history to it. So you've got General Joseph Hooker. He is a Civil War captain. He was really known as the handsome captain. You might ask yourself why he's known as the handsome captain. Well, he's got this overindulging, outrageous, kind of over-the-top lifestyle where he's got this love of whiskey and women. His army reputation is one of a ladies' man. He's got this idea to keep morale high with bringing around these, inviting this posse of ladies that, fraternize with a gentleman. So he likes to spend his time with, indulge himself in the nocturnal activities with women of ill repute, if you will. So his men are accumulating this large following of these women. And at first they became known as Hooker's Brigade. Then they became known as Hooker's Girls. And then later on, the moniker just kind of stuck. And so that's the term Hooker today is where that comes from. So General Hooker's home is in Sonoma, California, where he's from. And his home is now a museum, and it's celebrating the spirited life of this guy and the legend of General Joseph Hooker. So that all comes through in Hooker's House Bourbon. So his family gets together with a Pinot Noir maker out of Germany that moved to Sonoma. It's called Shug Winery, where they do a really nice Pinot Noir, and they finish the whiskey in there for 9 months. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see what we can pull out of it. Okay, so brought to us by Prohibition Spirits. Isn't that nice? So we look at this color. We see a ruby caramel. Really nice color. And you watch, so when you look at any spirit, you look at wine, you look at the legs that might be on that, you can see clearly it's full-bodied, this one. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now this is 100 proof, so let's not get too crazy here. If your eyes begin to flicker, or you get too much alcohol up your nose and you're nosing too aggressively, just kind of take it back a little bit and nose a little less aggressively. So you got caramel and vanilla right up front, not a surprise to anybody, being that it is a Kentucky bourbon. And it just jumps right out of the glass there. The caramel, the vanilla jumps out of the glass, as does this dark fruit and leather and this hint of red wine. You can get the oak. The oak is very prominent. So dark fruit, leather, hint of red wine. These come together and they make up this bulk of the aroma. But you've also got a rye spice. Definitely shows itself in there. Some brown sugar and of course that light oak. So Really a wonderful, wonderful nose. When you get into the tasting, which we're going to dive right in now, let's see what this is going to give us. Okay, so we swish around a little bit. Again, not like mouthwash. Let's not get too crazy. You just want to be gentle. You want to swish it around your mouth. You're trying to acclimate the whiskey to the temperature of your mouth, and you're going to find right away the mouthfeel is velvety. You almost forget that this is 100 proof when you feel that velvety feel in there. You almost really forget that that's 100 proof. But this warm, it just goes down a little bit. This nice little warmth goes down, and you find right off the bat that the leading flavor is going to be that caramel. There's a little bit of orange. There's a little bit of buttery fruit. Definitely a rye in there. Now let's not forget that this is a mash bill of it is 50%, 56% corn, excuse me, and 46% rye. So there's a fair bit of rye in there. This is definitely a blend. That subdued rye, the oaky red wine, without a doubt, has a nice support in there. And in the background, the undercurrent, like a syrupy grape, almost, I would say. Definitely has a nice, yeah, I mean, when you smell it, you taste it. I like to do both at the same time. You smell it, you taste it. You're letting everything kind of accolate, you're trying to get everything in there. Let it sit for a little bit. Let it acclimate to your mouth, and then as you go back in and smell, you can kind of place a little bit of the flavors. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that orange buttery fruit. And the second time you go in, you find a little bit more of that medicinal purpose. So the medicinal properties. So now let's not forget that in Prohibition, whiskey was not outlawed because whiskey had medicinal purposes. So you find those medicinal properties here in this whiskey. But as far as the finish goes, it's long. It's got a lot of wood in it. It's got a lot of wine. They slowly fade, and then you get this leathery rye, and the leathery rye is right back here. It sits right back here. You find on the roof of your mouth right now, you're going to be tasting this one on the roof of your mouth, and you're going to find that orange, that buttery fruit, all the while moving back as we're sitting here talking, all the while moving back. You're finding that wood is just moving, and it's expanding throughout your palate. You're finding the caramel is so nice. It just makes you want to go back for another one. So this is a great whiskey. It's about $45, something like that. Hard to find in Maryland, I'll tell you, because of the distribution laws in Maryland. But anywhere in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, as you start getting out further west, it is bottled in Sonoma County, California. So you'll find it in a lot of places. You just don't find it here in Maryland, but that's okay. It is a really, really nice whiskey. So send in your questions, folks. Anything you might have. I'm always glad to answer. Always glad to help you out with whatever you might have. And enjoy. Go ahead and find yourself a bottle of that Hooker's House and enjoy. Until next time, folks, we'll talk to you soon.